Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's happy February. You're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper, KHTS Radio, 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. And I have my very special insurance person on the phone. And Felicia is just amazing and always full of new products and new opportunities for insurance purposes. For your insurance needs. And Felicia Jurado of Jurado Insurance is certainly, once you have her work with you, it's like having a family member on your side. And Felicia, how are you?
I'm good. Happy Groundhog Day.
Oh, it's Groundhog Day. Oh, my God, I forgot. Is that when the groundhog comes out and we know if the winter is going to be shorter or longer?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't think here in California it matters that much, though.
Was it Positano Phil or something? Or one of those guys?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah. What time does he come out? I got to watch
Punxsutawney Phil. Oh, God. I think he already came out. I think it's already over.
Oh, no. So what is it going to be?
I don't know.
I'm going to have to Google that later. That's so funny. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I know there's a big talk in California, especially about insurance. And, we've been, hit with the magnitude of fires and, along with obviously the pandemic. And, that didn't top things off. I don't know what did. Godzilla's going to come out of the ocean. I don't know. I'm just kidding, guys. I take that back. Anyway, I just want to let you know that I think it's so, I was thinking about it, and, we emailed back and forth, and I think it's so important to talk about umbrella policies, because sometimes what you got is just not enough.
Yeah. Especially, in California, I always say that to everybody, because you always think you have enough, and sometimes something happens, and there was a story I heard once about a car accident. Somebody had made a left in front of a girl. They were in a college town, and it was an accident. That's what accidents are. You didn't mean to do it, and it was a good impact. But I think the girl had broken her hand. She got taken to the hospital, and it didn't seem like a big deal. And she was a medical student studying to be a surgeon, and with her breaking her hand, she couldn't have that career anymore. And the policy ended up having to pay for her lost wages, and I think it was like $6 million. So, yeah, and so we talk about sometimes about why umbrella. And, when we live in these areas that have expensive homes and cars and that kind of thing, we definitely want to protect our biggest asset. If we accidentally, cause the accident, it could be a whole family, things happen. We have so many distractions nowadays, and umbrella policies are really, really beneficial when you have a lot to protect. And I know that everybody's a little different with that type of a thing, but if you're not covered well enough, they could attach future wages. They could garnish your wages to pay these claims, because you have to pay it no matter if you have the insurance or not. And I get a lot of questions. What does an insurance umbrella policy do, and how does it work? And basically, in your household, when you have a personal umbrella policy, your home is listed under the umbrella. Your autos are listed underneath this umbrella. Say you have rental properties or motor home or motorcycle. So each one of those policies has their own limits of liability. And what the umbrella policy does is it picks up where those limits stop. So if you have the limit of, say, $300,000 limit of liability on your home, and somebody gets hurt, or in your car you have the accident, you know, when that liability policy is absorbed, then the umbrella kicks in and takes over legal costs, and other, you know, other things that need to be paid out if you're held liable. Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there are times, and I remember, you know, periodically hearing things. I was going to sell a house, and there was a claim open. It was interesting. Not interesting. It was not good. But they had someone in their home visiting, and one of their tiles wasn't put in properly, or something happened, and the person fell and really hurt themselves. They broke their hip. And, you know, I know there was some issues that they had to resolve before, you know, moving forward with the sale, because the attorney was going after their home.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure, you know, I forgot the insurance policy, but, you know, so how does someone protect themselves from that? You know, here they are trying to sell their home, not realizing that they can't do that right now, you know, because there's a lot of, you know, activity going on, and nobody's going to want to deal with it until it's resolved. So what do you do in a situation like that, and how do you protect that from happening?
Well, you know, you can't protect anything from happening, but when you're selling your home, you are still the homeowner. You own that property, so you're ultimately responsible for injury. You're ultimately responsible for, you know, that property to be safe for when people come on it. You can also mitigate things by, you know, making sure that the paths are clear and there's no water on the floor, and, you know, you've done everything you can. It still doesn't stop somebody from getting hurt and suing you, but if you show that you've done, you know, your diligence with really trying to make everything safe when you're showing properties and knowing that people are walking in to your home, you know, that's where the umbrella policy really does come in, because, you know, things are just, they're unseen. Some things you just don't know if it's going to happen, and if somebody gets injured on your property, you are named in the lawsuit, and, you know, you are held liable. You know, that's part of being a property owner. You know, it comes with a lot of benefits, but you just have to make sure you protect yourself. And in California, you know, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that are underinsured or not insured at all, and, you know, it just, you know, people don't realize how important it is to make sure that, you know, we are protected, because just medical costs and injuries and pain and suffering, I mean, it's a lot of money. And
especially now, you know, people, you know, prior to the pandemic and unemployment being so high, people were driving with no insurance. And then they let everyone get insurance, just get insurance, right? They didn't care where you're from, who are you, just get insurance. But not everybody did. And, you know, now even more so, if you are in an accident and someone hits you and they don't have insurance, uninsured and underinsured motorists is so important. You want to talk a little bit about that, because now probably we have half of double the amount of people uninsured and driving, because they can't afford it. Well, things are tough now. And, you know, tell everyone, you know, about that. I know I've seen that, you know, and this is like Murphy's Law. You know, don't drive with a day missing or a lapse in your insurance, because that one day could be the day that something happens. You know,
and it's usually the day it happens. Yeah. So underinsured and underinsured motorists is just as important as uninsured motorists. So underinsured means here in California, even though that we have strict regulations on getting insurance and all these other things are in place, our state minimum is $1530. Okay, that means $15,000 per person, $30,000 per occurrence. Those are our state minimums, 1530. 5, and then the 5,000 is for property damage. That's like if you collide with a teenager in high school that doesn't own anything, that doesn't have a car, big payment on a car, that has no injuries. So if you have somebody who can't, that says, I can't afford insurance, I just need to get the state minimums, and that's that 1535. Okay, so $15,000 per occurrence liability. $30,000 total, so it would be $15,000 per person in your car, in the car that gets injured. So, say you cause an accident, and in that other car, there's 3 people in that other car that you hit, and your limits to cover them is at $1,530. They only get a maximum of $15,000 per person for their injuries, with a $30,000 total for all 3. So even though you have a $15,000 per person, if there's 3 people in the car, each one's pretty much only going to get the $10,000 to cover injuries or anything that's happened. Then you have $5,000 worth of property damage to fix that car. I'm sorry, cars today are so expensive. It's going to fix the bumper, So if somebody hits you that has these low limits, you want to make sure your policy has an underinsured motorist as well as uninsured. Because if you only have uninsured, they're considered insured. So nothing gets, picked back up. If you have underinsured motorists, then maybe your liability will then cover anything additional that happened to you that needs to be paid out. And you're right, Mina. So many people now don't have insurance. That's like the first thing they cut out, because it's like, where do I cut costs? I need to put food on my table. We don't have jobs. We don't have, means, that kind of thing. So it is one of the first things I've noticed, that people try to either A, reduce as much as they possibly can, and then, and in some unfortunate situations, I've seen people just have to cancel it for a while, and it's scary. It's really scary.
It is. And the thing is, they can go after if you own a home and you cancel insurance, they can go after your house, your assets.
Yeah, and they can attach, and they can garnish your future wages if you don't have insurance and your home didn't even pay for the claim. The laws are very strict with people who don't carry insurance.
And you can get such, decent rates for car insurance if you have a good driving record.
Yes.
Because, the judgment can follow you for years, just because you don't have a home now and you get a home later, the judgment can follow you for a long, long time. And, driving without insurance is just so lethal. It's not a place to cut corners, because it's not something that, you don't have a house, you have to worry about it. Well, one day when you do have a house, you have some kind of asset or whatever, and they find it, that's it. You'll have a judgment on you, and it'll show up. And that's, penalty for driving without insurance. People feel that, they'll cut corners there, but certainly that is not the place to cut corners. Do you know that even when I was a kid, even my dogs had insurance. I always had insurance. I didn't have money, but I had insurance.
Right.
Seriously, my dogs always had health insurance. And it's not.
It's just a responsible thing to do. It's just one of those responsible things to do to make sure that
my car, my apartment, everything was insured.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking the other day about, all the different insurance policies that, I personally have, not just because I'm an agent, just because, I have a lot to lose. And, my oldest daughter, she was involved in an accident, and, she's under my policies, and I felt like we're good. I didn't worry at all. And that's really to be able to go to sleep at night and not worry about if some accident happens, that I'm not going to lose everything just because of an accident.
And you know, also another thing that I noticed that people will exclude their children because it'll give them a cheaper and less expensive policy. But if you forget you did that and your child, young adult child, drives the car because they're under 25 and it raises, you know, insurance is a little more expensive when they're younger. But if they somehow get your keys and drive your car and they get into an accident, you're in a bad place. They have no insurance. They're driving your car with no insurance.
Yeah.
How does that pan out?
Well, I mean, usually when somebody's living in your house and you know they have access to the keys of your car, I would never recommend excluding anybody because anything can happen, and they
have to
may
actually add them on, right? You have to add them on if they live under your roof. You have to add them on, right?
You can exclude them. You can exclude them off your policy, but you know there's documents you have to sign realizing they've been excluded.
Mr. Isaac Kim?
But I don't recommend that either because
I can hear you fantastic.
I mean I know sometimes my son, you know, he's rated so high, it's so expensive, and it's like, but you never know what can happen. You know, it's just better to stay protected when you've got whoever's living in your house. Stay underneath, you know, to stay. Go ahead. I mean, except if he's, you know, a really bad driver and he has his driver's license.
Yeah,
okay, he doesn't get to drive, but you know, typically our teenagers are very good drivers, and you know, they are careful, and you know, you want to make sure you are protected.
Right, and it's so important, you know, and I really, you know, besides, you know, we're able to comment on Facebook when we're on the radio, and Felicia will put her information there, but she's so important to talk to, even if you don't want to deal with your insurance stuff. Do deal with it. It's important. Felicia, how do they get in touch with you?
You can always call my office anytime. We answer all the time at 661-288-2001, and I'll say that one more time, is 661-288-2001.
Awesome. Felicia, it is wonderful. My clients are so happy with you when I refer them over, and they just are like, where'd you find her? I said, I don't know, we found each other. But anyway, I wish you the best day ever, and I will talk to you soon. And thank you for everything today. And
well, thank you, Mina.
You're welcome. We're going to take a break now, and I'm going to have a really exciting guest coming up about saving money on taxes. I'm going to show you how. We'll be right back.
La Rocca Inspections provides
Alrighty.
of the most needed inspections
Fantastic.
when buying or
Awesome.
selling real estate.
We're on break. We have
Homeowners
Mr.
love their
Isaac
property
Kim.
Reviews.
He's
Since
in
1994, they serve the greater Los Angeles area.
Oh yeah, that's the music the phone makes when the person is put into the conference call. That one, there's not really any way around that unless I turn it off. No, not at all. It happened to be one, but no. It just worked out that way, I guess.
Insurance agency specializes in your small business, homeowners, auto, umbrella, and life insurance needs. Their personalized staff is passionate to help you save money while keeping all your valuable assets covered. During these times, many people are concerned about insurance and the less value for their dollar. Felicia Jurado's insurance agency understands this and approaches each situation uniquely. Felicia Jurado's insurance agency has friendly hometown customer service reps that are ready to help you today. 661-288-2001.
When it comes to buying or selling your home, there's no room for error with your money. It was like Precision Escrow is the super networking thing. When selling your home, you want to make sure you're working with a company that has your best interest and keeps your money safe. That's why they use payments and secure trust accounting. Precision Escrow will follow the contract in detail from the beginning to the end and protect the parties involved. Working with Precision is like working with a huge family. Everyone is always smiling and cohesively working together.
together for you. Check out their 5-star Yelp and Google reviews and see how they separate themselves from the competition. Whether you use an agent or sell your home yourself, they'll give you 30% off your transaction, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Use code Radio30 to take advantage of the savings. Call your representative for more details. She's available 7 days a week during and after office hours. Call toll-free 877-393-4101.
Speaking of which, we're actually just about ready to come back right now. I'll play the music for you, Mina. Probably around 45, 48 for the next break.
KHTS is the only
Okay,
station I listen
follow
to.
your lead. Here we go.
FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about trust, probate, real estate, and more. Thank you for listening. You're on 98.1 FM, 1220 AM, KHTS Radio. I have an amazing guest who I was so fascinated with talking to him. He's just a wealth of information. I didn't want to hang up, and that's not like me when I talk about certain things. But he is just really the guy to talk to. Isaac Kim is a financial advisor and helps people plan their financial future with an amazing tax strategies where it just blew my mind, really blew my mind. And, you know, what better time now to plan things, because when we are coming out and life starts to roll out and normalcy happens, you want to be able to have all these things in place. And so I want to introduce Isaac Kim.
Hello, Mina. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm really excited to be on your show.
Well, thank you. I know that, you know, when you and I talked, I was just, like, fascinated because I never had a conversation like that with someone. And, you know, I was really, like, just fascinated about your Section 121 exclusion for home sellers. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that is just, you know, really cool, and the capital gain tax rates for federal and state taxes on that.
Right,
I just
sure.
thought it was fascinating.
Great. Yeah, so in order to keep my compliance department happy, let me just read something real quick, Mina. Isaac Kim is a registered representative with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Golden State Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Mina Kuper is not affiliated with LPL Financial and Golden State Wealth Management. And the last thing I need to say is nothing that I discussed today is intended to be a specific individualized tax or legal advice. We're going to talk about things at a high level, but if we want to get specific tax advice, then we need to bring in your tax advisor and have a discussion together. So that's the end of the legalese. So going back to what you were mentioning, Mina, one of the things that I do, you know, the way that I really go out and network with the public is I offer strategies to reduce or eliminate capital gains tax. And it's no surprise, a lot of real estate people are very interested in what I have to say. I also deal with people who are selling businesses and things like that, but real estate, residential or commercial, it doesn't matter. What we're going to talk about today, it applies to both categories. So let me step back just for a second. Here in California, because I'm assuming most of the listeners are California folks like us, there's two different taxes that you have to pay on capital gains. There's a federal capital gains tax, and there's a state capital gains tax. Now, on the federal side, if you have a capital gain, you can get a beneficial tax rate compared to just paying regular income tax. So with capital gains, the capital gains tax rates are 0, 15, or 20% for federal. And in California, there's no special capital gains tax rate. It's the same as the income tax rate. Now, you mentioned the Section 121 exclusion. What that is if you're selling your residence, not a commercial property, but your residence, there's something in the Internal Revenue Tax Code that will allow an individual to exclude $250,000 of capital gain from their income. If you're married, then you can exclude $500,000 of capital gain because both of the spouses would be able to take that exclusion. So that's available to everyone who's selling a residence. There's a couple of rules that you have to fulfill. The main one is that in the previous 5 years, that property has to be your principal residence for at least 2 of those years. The 2 years don't have to be consecutive. It could be 6 months, 3 months, 10 months, or whatever the case may be. But if you're selling your residence, that's the first thing that you want to take advantage of is that exclusion. And, $500,000 for a married couple, I mean, that's a pretty good amount to be excluded from your capital gains amount. Did that make sense, Mina?
Yes, it did. And so I know, for instance, when people have, the non-owner properties and they're most likely going to enter into a 1031 exchange, can this help, this program, or not program, but this technique help with getting out of the 1031 exchange?
Right. No.
When I say getting out of it, convert it into a different form. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Right. So that's actually another strategy that I've heard people use. They will take a residence. If I'm hearing you correctly, they'll take the residence and they can convert it to some kind of rental property. And then once it's been a rental property, you need to talk to a tax advisor about whether it needs to be a rental property for 1 or 2 years. But then after that, the 1031 that you mentioned, that is available, to the owners of that kind of real estate. Now, aside from that, because again, the 121 is only for residential real estate. Now maybe we can talk about some other strategies that, actually, let me stop one more thing. When you're selling something with a capital gain, whether it's your home or whether it's a commercial property, in addition to capital gains tax, if you're a high income earner, you may also have to pay a 3.8% Medicare tax. And then, as you know, we have a new president in the White House. There's been a lot of talk about Joe Biden is going to go out and kind of turn the tax code upside down and make all of these changes. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that anyone does, but I talk a lot with tax attorneys and I talk a lot with tax CPAs. And the general conclusion or the general, opinion of the people that I talk to is there's not going to be any large-scale immediate changes. And the reason is Joe Biden has other priorities that are higher on his list. So you may have heard things like they're going to remove the step-up basis for property. It could happen, but things like that, I wouldn't pay too much attention to it now unless, talks become more substantive. Last year, 2020, was an election year. It was an extremely contentious election. And so both sides, Republicans and Democrats, they have to say things that's going to rally their base. And for the Democrats, maybe that's why that came up. But anyway, so we don't know if there's going to be all of these large-scale changes, but, there probably will be something. Now, let's say you have a property and maybe you want to sell something and you're selling it and you have a capital gain. There are different strategies that we can implement to reduce, eliminate, or defer the payment of the capital gain. And none of these strategies involve a Swiss bank account, okay? We're not going to the island of Maldives. We're not running away with the money in another country.
Exactly. the strategies that I talk about, and I'll try and review some of them here at a high level. Sometimes it's hard to explain them without, some kind of a diagram. But all of these rules, to the best of my knowledge, all of these strategies, they're well within the IRS rules and within the IRS comfort zone, because I don't want to introduce any strategies that are going to invite an IRS audit, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. We don't want anyone ever to do that. Good
right,
idea.
Right.
Your techniques are well thought and well thought out, and they are, officially, things that are properly done, that you guys know about.
Right, and a professional like yourself who's so experienced and so successful. I mean, you're even an author. I noticed on your website we can download your book. So someone like you would definitely be cognizant of things like that. So one of the ways that we try to reduce, eliminate, or defer the payment of capital gains is by using an installment sale. Now, installment sales they've been part of the Internal Revenue Tax Code, I think, for more than 100 years.
Wow.
So this is not something new. We didn't just come up with it last week. But, tax attorneys are good at looking at the rules and trying to figure out how can we structure a transaction so that we can get advantageous tax treatment. And that's some of the things that I talk about. So one of the strategies that I talk to clients about is called a structured installment sale. A structured installment sale. Now, typically what happens in an installment sale, Mina, is let's say you're selling a home and I'm the buyer. In a normal transaction, if it's $1 million home, I'm going to bring the transaction amount $1 million to closing. I'll give it to the escrow company, and you as the seller, you're going to get the proceeds of that sale in a lump sum. That's fine. That's a typical transaction. But from a taxation viewpoint, the problem is if it's $1 million transaction and you take the proceeds in a lump sum, there's a really good possibility that you're going to be in the highest tax bracket. For federal capital gains tax, that would be 20%. And then, as I mentioned, there might be another 3.8% Medicare tax that you might have to pay if you're a high income earner. So if you wanted to reduce your capital gains tax, what you could do is an installment sale. So, for example, instead of taking the $1 million today, you could take annual payments of $100,000 a year for 10 years. That way, you would be taxed on $100,000 each year, not on a lump sum of $1 million. And by taking $100,000 each year, we're lowering the amount that will be subject to capital gains tax. And that's a very straightforward way to try to reduce your capital gains tax rate. However, the reality of the situation is that, you as the seller right now, you're probably not going to want to wait 10 years to get your money, right? I mean, you're going to wonder for 10 years.
Yeah, I want it sooner.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Maybe not. It depends on people's financial situation. They can have a lot of income coming in from other streams.
Exactly. But, in most cases, the seller usually does not want to wait to take, payment because, in essence, you become the bank and, you take all the risk of the buyer not paying. So the structured installment sale, the strategy that I'm talking about right now, it's a really simple strategy where we can use the installment sale technique, so you'll be taxed on less amount each year, but you don't have to worry about is the buyer going to pay you or not. And so the way that works, and again, I'll try and explain this really simply so that, like I said, I don't have a chart or anything that I can show you, but typically what would happen is, again, as the seller in a normal transaction, you'll take the proceeds of that sale in a lump sum. What we do in a structured installment sale is we don't give you the money. we give you a promissory note. So the promissory note might be for $1 million, and let's say it's going to pay out over 10 years. Then you would get paid out $100,000 a year. So instead of taking the cash, you now have a promissory note. And then what we do is we take the proceeds and we give it to a trust company, or we put it into an annuity. The idea with putting it into a trust company or putting it into an annuity is that the payments are guaranteed by someone. So if we put that money into an annuity and make you the beneficiary, what will happen is the annuity will make payments to you, the seller, Mina, and, the money sitting in an annuity and the money is guaranteed by the insurance company. What we could also do with that money is instead of putting it into an annuity, we could put it into U.S. government bonds. Again, U.S. government bonds are very secure, and they're guaranteed by the U.S. government. So what that means for you as the seller is, number one, you don't have to worry about, am I going to get paid by the buyer or not? The buyer has already paid the money, and the money is now sitting either in a trust company invested in U.S. government bonds, or the money is sitting in an annuity invested or guaranteed by an insurance company. So because we've already received the money, you as the seller, you don't have to worry about, am I going to get paid or not? We've already received the money. It's sitting in a very secure investment. And so either the trust company or the life insurance company that issues the annuity, they're going to make payments to you each year. So you're going to get $100,000 a year directly from the trust company or directly from the life insurance company out of the annuity. I know I covered a lot there. Does that make sense, or were there any questions?
It does.
Is there anything? Okay.
It does. And, also, what's important is what's good while we're on the radio. We're also streaming on Facebook. And you're able to put some information down so people can reach you, because it's just, I literally can sit on the phone with you for hours because it's so interesting. It's like going to a doctor, going to any professional. Some people are limited in their knowledge, which is fine. They just do what they do. And then some people really investigate what's possible for people, and especially now, in these times, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of change going on, more than probably we've ever had in an entire year. People are moving out of town. They're moving back with their families. They're selling. They're buying. There's just so much activity and so much movement. And these strategies are so important for people to know, because people are scrambling. Everybody just, people are busy, even though we are in a pandemic. We're busier now. We have kids at home or, what have you, or significant others at home with you, and we're not used to that. So there's, a lot going on that we're not used to. And it's a good time to get your ducks in a row, because now people are looking at things that they were just not looking at because they were busy driving to and from work. They're going to meet friends for drinks and dinner, and then you go home and you go to sleep and do it again, or busy with doing whatever you're doing, and nobody really looked at other things other than what they've been doing for 10 years, right, or 20 years, because change doesn't happen unless it's forced to some degree, and change is good. Even though things may look not good, and for some they are not good, but, there's always been bad in everything. That's the way I look at it, right? And
I agree.
Change to some people, when these things happen and there's change in the world, unfortunately, things happen that are negative, but there's also positive that comes out of this. And when you have an opportunity to look at things that you may have not looked at before, strategies that you wouldn't have looked at because you just go about life as you do. And people don't change things because it's too much work for them, right? But when forced change happens, and there's opportunities to engage in different things and open up your sphere, if you will, you may find yourself in a better place. if someone reaches out to someone like you, Isaac, it certainly is fortunate for them, as I see it.
Right.
Because
well, thank you for that.
You can make this fun. This could be fun for you. I like things that are sometimes a Rubik's Cubes. I guess that's why I got involved, although I do sell traditional real estate. I like the aspect, I like trust, probate, estate, divorce, dissolutions, relationships. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube, right? You can figure it out, and there's a lot of twists and turns. But they can also be a lot of fun because it can end up a lot better than most people would think it would.
Yeah, Mina, one of the things that really stood out to me about you is you're a problem solver, and you try to really add value. In my situation, talking about capital gains tax reduction strategies is a way for me to add value. I'm a financial advisor. I work with LPL Financial, and most financial advisors, the work that is done is, hey, if you got $100,000 or $1 million, let me charge you a fee, and I will manage that money for you. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to be different and add more value. And that's why I talk about the capital gains tax reduction strategies because if I come up to you, Mina, and I say, hey, let me manage your money in your IRA, typically you don't want to talk to me about your personal finances.
Right.
But if I come up and I say, hey, I know how you can reduce capital gains tax when you sell your home or your commercial property, people look at me and say, hey, tell me more about that. And that's, that's how I think I'm kind of aligned with you. I just try to add more value to the client and be more valuable.
Absolutely. You're an amazing resource. And how can people reach out to you? I know after we get the call, if you're not doing it already, you can comment on the Facebook so that people can look at it and look at it anytime they want because it's always there. And so they can find it if they have nothing to write with or, they are not in that place to write things down and take notes, that they can reach out to you and have a conversation with you about this in more detail.
Yeah, so my work number is 310-806-4154. Again, 310-806-4154. Or if you want to send me an email, it's pretty easy. It's my name, Isaac, ISAAC, .kim, Kim, at lpl.com. L as in Larry, P as in Paul, L as in Larry.com. So either one of those would be great. And if you want to reach out and you have any questions about reducing capital gains tax, I can definitely be a good resource for you. And again, none of the strategies that I talk about are going to invite an IRS audit.
Isaac, Kim, thank you so, so much. I look forward to more. I look forward to working together and helping people and educating them on what's possible. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. We're going to take a break now.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Mina, for the opportunity.
Specializes in your small business, homeowners, auto, umbrella, and life insurance needs. Their personalized staff is passionate to help you save money while keeping all your valuable assets covered. During these times, many people are concerned about insurance and getting the best value for their dollar. Felicia Jurado's insurance agency understands this and approaches each situation uniquely. Felicia Jurado's insurance agency has friendly hometown customer service reps that are ready to help you today. 661-288-2001.
When it comes to buying or selling your home, there's no room for error with your money. That's why Precision Escrow is the company you need to know. When selling your home, you want to make sure you're working with a company that has your best interest and keeps your money safe. That's why they use encrypted emails and secure trust accounting. Precision Escrow will follow the contract in detail from the beginning to the end and protect the parties involved. Working with Precision is like working with a huge family. Everyone is always smiling and cohesively working together for you. Check out their 5-star Yelp and Google reviews and see how they separate themselves from the competition. Whether you use an agent or sell your home yourself, they'll give you 30% off your transaction, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Use code RADIO30 to take advantage of the savings. Call Lauren Fredette, your representative, for more details. She's available 7 days a week during and after office hours. Call toll-free 877-393-4101. Let them help you through one of the most important decisions of your life.
At Substrata, they're dedicated to be your go-to general contractor. They are a premier builder of high-end custom homes from the ground up, major remodels and expansions, multi-unit construction, and commercial tenant improvements for both retail and office build-out. Their focus on details and personal attention have been constant from conception of the project to completion. They build stories not with pen and keyboard, but with steel and manpower. Visit substrata.com or call 424-702-5700.
LaRocca Inspections provides 4 of the most needed inspections when buying or selling real estate, and homeowners love their property reviews. Since 1994, they serve the greater Los Angeles area and its 100-plus communities. Schedule residential or commercial inspections for your comprehensive reports. Their inspections can save you money on repairs. Go to laroccainspections.com and download the free guide to inspections. Call now for your free quote, 818-951-1795.
I love it.
Right on!
Your hometown station.
Thank you for joining me again. Now it's just me, listed by Mina Kuper. And I wanted to thank everyone for joining me every Tuesday at 2 o'clock to listen to our amazing professionals that are so informative and so amazing at what they do. And, you know, I'm a realtor, and I work in some interesting areas of real estate, obviously trust, probate, estate, divorce, bankruptcy. And, you know, I get calls from people that were executors to a will and didn't know what to do with it. And, you know, it's good to have a trust as well because it's more precise. But, you know, I was able to get them in touch with the proper people because they didn't know where to start, right? And I didn't make money. It's okay. So if you need any professionals, any direction, when you're an executor or you are faced with a situation that you've never dealt with before and kind of getting the runaround, trying to call people, and you kind of don't know where to start and where to end and getting different things, different messages from people, call me because I can at least put a roadmap together for you and help you with that because I enjoy doing that. And also, I know how important it is, and time is of the essence when you're dealing with all these things. And it's emotional, right? And I'm here to help you. So, again, you know, first-time home buyers, I'm giving back $5,000 in closing costs and escrow. Also, we have a program that if your house needs to be updated or renovated prior to selling, we can potentially offer that, and you have no out-of-pocket expense, right? That's not bad. So we can evaluate your property, see if it's of value to go in and update it and make sure that you get top dollar. You don't have to put money out of your pocket. Everything is paid in escrow. Everything is, you know, done properly. And it's been a very good option for people who want to maximize on the amount of money they get when they sell a property. So my areas of service are Ventura County, Santa Clarita, Orange County, LA County. I have a great team that works for me, stagers, everything. If I can't do it, I'll tell you I can't do it. But if you need anything, I want you to reach out to me. I'm a resource for you. That's why I did the show during these unprecedented times. They needed something to voice to people and help people. And whoever I reach, you know, that's great for me, you know, because I want to know that people are going to be okay. So please, you know, reach out to me anytime. You can always find me on Facebook, Mina Kuper. My phone number, my direct number to reach me is 315-8500. Again, 310-345-8500. I will see you next Tuesday, 2 o'clock. And if you don't have time to listen, tune in anytime you can. And we're always on Facebook. So we're here for you, and I look forward to talking. Have a great rest of the day. See you soon.